and gentlemen! How the fuck are you tonight? You know, I like to start off by issuing a warning, because this material is rated R. May be inappropriate for all races, colors, creeds, and religions. So if any of you out there are easily offended, I strongly suggest having a few drinks and lightening the fuck up. Now let's talk sports. You know, I guess I like sports about as much as the next guy. I think football's a pretty good game if you got, about 3 or 4 hours to kill. Hell, in between penalties, timeouts, and halftime, you got time to shit, shower, shave, and even fuck the old lady. You know, I think most of us actually forget that last part, though. Now, can you imagine for a moment how much women would probably love football if we were actually fucking them during halftime? Man, they'd probably be chasing us around with the TV guide saying, "Hey, there's high school football on at 3 a.m. We're there." But you know, there is actually a fucking game I really can't stand. This one here, they got the balls to call America's game. That would be baseball. But first of all, I gotta wonder to myself, man, what kind of medication do you gotta be on to be able to get into this one in the first place? Because let's face it, people, baseball's probably about as exciting as watching old people fuck. Not that I've ever done that, mind you. But you can all go ahead and just use your imaginations on this one. And what the fuck's with all that bullshit that goes on between the pitcher and the catcher, in between each goddamn pitch? The pitcher leans in with a glazed eye, a little chewing tobacco running down his face. He reaches down and he grabs his balls. And he reaches back, he starts rubbing his ass. And the catcher reaches down, grabs his balls, and starts rubbing his ass. I'm like, man, hold on a goddamn minute here. Because I was under the impression we were watching some type of sporting event. This here looks like some kind of gay version of Days of Our Lives. And how about them Olympics? Now this could totally be me, but doesn't it seem like the Olympics has an event for every sport known to man? Hell, just in the S category alone, you got swimming, skiing, skateboarding, snowboarding. I'm thinking, hell, alright. If you want to go that goddamn far, how about something we can all participate in? How about drinking, fucking, and farting? Hell, just think of all the fun you'd have getting ready for these events. Hey, honey, I'm home. Got a case of beer, pornos, and some Taco Bell. And the little lady's all excited. She's like, "Oh, looks like we're in for a heavy night of training." Well, of course, you're going to have the perfect location to host these games. Hey, I know. How about Tijuana, Mexico? The capital of drinking, farting, and fucking. I say, let the games begin. There's something I think they ought to make a sporting event out of. Terrorism. Hell, I could see it now. Sunday night football. The Pakistanians against the Israelis. Yeah, you can call it Terror Bowl. See, now this way they can blow each other up under a controlled environment. Hell, works for me. Probably make for a pretty exciting game too when you think about it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're ready for the kickoff. The ball's in the air. Abdul centers under it. He's got it. He's at a 10. He's at a 20. Oh, he could go all the way. Kaboom. Oh, man. Timeout on the field. They need to go out there and scrape up Abdul. You know, I think there's one very important aspect that we overlook about these people. And that's those damn towels they wear on their heads. Because has anybody ever bothered to check how tightly wrapped these things are? Now this here could be the whole problem. These people are simply under way too much pressure. No wonder they're blowing shit up. I think somebody needs to ban them towels. Taliban. And give them some loose-fitting cowboy hats or something. You know, people often wonder why this country's so messed up. I'm like, hell, all you really gotta do is just think about this one for a minute. Because who have we had for presidents over the years? Man, haven't they been a bunch of hicks and goddamn hillbillies? You take old Bill Clinton, for example. The old Bill, he was from Arkansas. Now I'm thinking to myself, man, ain't that where they fuck each other's kin? Then the guy turns out to be slightly perverted, and it's some kind of huge surprise. People, the dude was from Arkansas. You know, actually we got so tired of the hillbillies, we went ahead and elected an actor as president. You guys remember Ronald Reagan, don't you? Well, that's good, because he didn't remember. But now let me ask you something. What the fuck were we thinking then, man? An actor as president. I guess some of us figured, hell, if he didn't know what the fuck he was doing, at least he can act like he did. Now, let's talk education. You know, when I was a younger guy, my parents used to always tell me, Pete, you know what? You're probably going to need a good education to make it in this world. And then they followed that up by telling me they would not be paying for it. You know, there are some advantages of getting a good education. Let's say you choose drug dealer as an occupation. Pretty good occupation, right? But now here's the difference. Now, if your ass decides not to go to school, you're probably going to end up selling your drugs illegally out some street corner somewhere. Probably going to have a tendency to be kind of a nervous type. But now if you do decide to go to school, you'll probably end up selling your drugs legally out of some corner office. Yeah, probably with the title doctor on the door. Pretty big fucking difference. You know, personally, I think this is a huge problem we have in this country. There's a simple fact that we got a drug for just about everything. Yeah, man, because if your hair's falling out, not to worry. All you need to get is a little bit of that Rogaine. But now what they don't tell you is you got to use that shit for the rest of your fucking life. But now let's say you got a bigger problem, like, oh, maybe your dick won't get hard. Well, that ain't no problem either. Because now all you need to do is get a little bit of that Viagra. And boy, what a manly drug this one is. Because if you should experience an erection lasting more than 3 or 4 hours, consult a physician immediately. Yeah, and then what? Ask him if you can borrow that big-titted nurse for about 3 or 4 hours? I think this here is more a job for a professional woman. You know, then we got all these other drugs that come with all these fucking side effects. Man, don't it seem like most of the time the side effects are a lot worse than the shit you're taking it for in the first goddamn place? So here you are having to make an extremely tough decision. Whether or not you want to be depressed, or would you rather have extreme nausea and uncontrollable bowel movements? But personally, I don't see how the hell you're going to be a happier person after losing all your friends because you smell like shit. Now, of course, with all these drugs floating around, pretty good chance some of us are going to do a little bit too many, right? Well, there again, not to worry. Because now that's where all them self-help groups come in. Now, personally, I think most of them are a bunch of bullshit. You take Alcoholics Anonymous, for example. Well, hell, when you stop and think about it, even the name's a bunch of bullshit. It's what's one of the first things they make every new member do. Man, don't you have to get up in front of the whole goddamn room and go, hi, my name's Pete Perotti, and I'm a what? Yeah, I'm an alcoholic. Now, let me ask you something, people. What the fuck's anonymous about that? There's another one I think's pretty funny. Overeaters Anonymous. Now I'm thinking to myself, Man, if your ass weighs more than 300 or 400 pounds, how the fuck you gonna be anonymous? Man, I'd have to say somebody's either gonna see ya or smell your fat ass coming. And then there's my personal favorite, Jenny Craig. You know, I like Jenny Craig. Jenny Craig's all about supply and demand. Jenny Craig says, man, we know your loser ass ain't sticking to no diet. Well, that's why they're gonna go ahead and just sell you the goddamn food. You guys have seen the ads. $20 a month and all the food you can eat. Of course, the food's extra. Man, I think these guys here ain't nothing but a bunch of food pushers. You know, in case any of you people out there are wondering, you know, I've been a musician for a number of years. And of course, being a musician, I was around my share of people doing all kinds of drugs, man. But you know, drinking happened to be my drug of choice. Obviously one you guys kind of like too, huh? You know, you go out on a Friday night, get all shit-faced, puke on your shoes, lose your car, wake up the next day. Boy, you can't remember a goddamn thing that happened the night before. Now this here is what some of us more educated people call pretty good fucking time. But now here's one I really don't understand, and that's people that smoke cigarettes. You know, I actually asked a friend of mine once who smoked. I said, man, why the fuck you smoke cigarettes? He says to me, well, you know, Pete, I need to do something with my hands. I'm thinking, alright, that's a pretty good answer. But let's take that a step further. I'm thinking, man, if you need to do something with your hands, hell, why not try masturbating? Pretty good use of the hands, and feels pretty damn good too. You know, I actually ran into him a few weeks ago. He told me he took my advice. He said not only did he quit smoking, but he actually gained about 3 inches to his fucking dick. Man, if that ain't a good reason to quit, I don't know what the fuck is. You know, I like to talk about a few things I think are getting kind of out of hand. One of them would be TV commercials. Because, man, don't it seem like sometimes they're giving you just a little bit too much information? You know, for example, I'm watching TV the other night when all of a sudden this commercial comes on for Vagisil. Well, you know, it starts off innocent enough. 2 women sitting around yakking. When all of a sudden one looks over at the other one, she says, hey, Ethel. Ethel says, what? She goes, you know, I've been having a real problem with vaginal itch. Ethel's like, thanks for sharing. Sounds like you need to get a little bit of that Vagisil. Now I'm like, man, hold on a goddamn minute here. Here we go again, right? Fucking drug for everything. I'm like, bitch, you don't need no Vagisil. All you really need to do is just reach down and scratch that puppy. And man, what the fuck's up with all these gay people on TV now? Jeez. I think these people are multiplying quicker than the Mexicans. Personally, I think I liked them a lot better when they were in the goddamn closet. Hell, we even got them in the military now. You know, I can remember a simpler time when being in the military was actually kind of a manly thing. It was a place for guys named Duke, Butch, and Spike. Well, not anymore. No, now you got soldiers named Dante, running around with pink guns and uniforms with little floral patterns on them. Hell, they even got a new theme song. Goes like this. Be all that you can be. Be a faggot in the army. Guess it gives a whole new meaning to that term, climbing in the old foxhole, huh? Can you imagine for a moment being the enemy? Seeing a couple thousand of these guys coming at you? Boy, you definitely have to be aware of them attacks from the rear. I actually hear they're going so far as to train all the new recruits to fight with one hand, constantly guarding their assholes. And let's not forget old Sergeant Fudgepacker out there, barking out orders to his new recruits. Now men, I'm going to be your mother, your father, your sister, and your girlfriend. But mostly your girlfriend. Now men, we're going to start off with a few calisthenics. I want you all to reach down and grab those ankles. And let us not forget all the gays in the priesthood. Man, how messed up is this? When you can't even go to your local priest anymore for a little consolement. Now the only consoling you're going to get from your priest is when he bends your ass over that pew. Hey, maybe that's where that word pew came from in the first place. Personally, I think they might be putting a little Viagra in that holy water. Now, of course, from every bad situation, there's always a little good that comes from it, right? Well, in this case, there's no exception. Now you have no more boring masses. Now Father Mahoney comes striding out into Sunday Mass, looks out over his parish and says, "Ladies and gentlemen of the congregation, I'd like to skip past today's usual Sunday service and go straight into the confessional part of today's program. I want to know how many of you have not been fucked by a priest. Kindly identify yourself by bending over and showing me your ass. Show me your ass." The parishioners are like, "Oh man, Father Mahoney's been drinking the holy water again." Hey, you guys hear about that group of priests that started their own Ritter company? It's called Altar Boy Plumbing. Now they guarantee to unclog any ass, or your counseling is free. I don't know if any of you guys remember this or not, but a while back some supposedly very intelligent people that actually sat on the school board, mind you, we're talking about making bubonics a recognized language in public schools. Well, in honor of this, the great folks over at Hooked on Phonics have come out with a new version. Yeah, it's called Hooked on Phonophonics. Now you'll know if your little bro needs this or not if he's running around saying finna instead of funna, ask instead of ax, or hey instead of yo. I see a lot of ladies out in the audience tonight, so I gotta ask. We got any cat owners out there? Pussy's loving pussy. I like cats. I actually got a couple of them of my own. But man, did you ever stop to wonder where the fuck they get their grooming habits? 'Cause man, the other night I watched my cat lick his ass, transfer it over to his paw, then rub it across the top of his goddamn head. I'm like, damn, you like spreading that shit around, don't you? But then the entrepreneurial side of me kind of kicked in. I said, hey, wait a minute. Maybe some fragrance company needs to capture this scent in some type of cologne. Yeah, it'd probably be a big seller overseas in some of those European countries. I actually went so far as to come up with a TV commercial for it. It takes place over in the south of France. Two French guys sitting in the bar, right? When all of a sudden one looks over at the other one and he says, "Hey, Pierre." Pierre says, "What?" He goes, "You're smelling extremely offensive this evening." Pierre says, "Why, thank you. Must be my new cologne. Scent of asshole." You guys ever see that show, Wild Discovery? I was watching that show the other night. I gotta tell you, kind of reminded me of my heavy drinking days. 'Cause man, back then I used to have a few wild discoveries of my own. Yeah, usually the following morning, waking up next to that wildebeest I brought home from the night before. You know that woman you thought was extremely repulsive when you first walked in the bar? But boy, didn't she get more attractive as the night wore on. And I think alcohol could be responsible for most of the ugly people on this planet. You know the ones that swore they'd never reproduce because they're so goddamn ugly. Well, after a couple of six-packs, they're like, fuck it, why not have kids? Hell, life ain't fair. And then again, of course, they'll always have alcohol. And you know, alcohol is also a very diverse drug. Man, you can take two people that generally can't stand each other, put them in a bar, give them some drinks, and just sit back and watch the transformation. Because man, after 4 or 5 beers, they're actually starting to become pretty good friends. Now after a few more beers, now they're starting to love each other. Now you throw in some tequila, now you just sealed the deal, because now they're ready to have each other's kids. Alcohol. Responsible for ugly, dysfunctional families everywhere. Hey, how about a bartender joke? Guy walks into a bar, he says, "Hey bartender, I'll take a double shot." Bartender says, "No problem, man, 'cause you're fat and you're fucking ugly." Priest walks into a bar. Bartender says, "Hey father, what do you have?" He says, "Well, I have sex on the beach, a screaming orgasm, and a pack of Marlboros." Bartender says, "Man, you must be one of them Catholic priests." Yeah, a friend of mine recently went through a divorce. You know, he had to go out and get himself a divorce lawyer and everything. So he walks into this lawyer's office, right? He says to the lawyer, "Man, my wife wants a divorce and she wants to take everything." The lawyer says to him, "Calm down, sir, 'cause I'll take most of it. That bitch will only get what's left." So now my friend's single, right? So I told him, I said, "Man, why don't you try one of them dating services?" So, you know, he took my advice. He walks into one of these places, he walks up to the counter. He says to the lady behind the counter, he says, "I'm looking for the perfect woman." She goes, "All right, I'll bite. What kind of woman might that be?" He goes, "Oh, you know, big tits, nice ass." Totally fucking mute. What do you get when you cross a Jew and a Chinaman? Cheap technology. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night.